Hello, my loves. Getting situated for Close the Kitchen Tuesday night. Hey, Zach. We close the kitchen on Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Hi, Emily. Janice. Oh, Janice, I'm sorry. Such a lovely conversation about your awesomeness today. Hello, Molly, Amy, Emily. Wahoo! Gail is here. Crystal. Gang's all here. Gang's all here. Rachel. God, Rachel, you come every night. I love it. My love. Josh is here. Dolly Mommy's here. Susie. Mwah. Susie, I'm so into you. All right. Well, we're going to start. Hello, Teresa's here. Are we getting the lobster story tonight? No. I'll tell it tomorrow night. I had Donna. This is so exciting. Brenna's here. Eileen is here. Well, Amanda's here. I'm just going to wait a minute. It's clogging up. I love when it gets clogged up. That's so exciting. I will tell the lobster story tomorrow night. I actually think tonight is a good opening before we tell the lobster story on Wednesday night. So, anyway, my loves, I'm so happy to be here. Molly, Carmel, your coach, your bestie, fiercely devoted to your freedom. So many people I love coming on board to Close the Kitchen. Yeah, so this quarantine is a minute, huh? It just keeps going and going. And that's going to be okay. I was reading so much today. I was reading a bunch of articles about eating disorders and addictions. And you guys, I just can't say it enough. Connection, 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 connection. And something I wanted to talk a little bit, and so when we talk about closing the kitchen, what I really like to do at Close the Kitchen, because we try really hard. Thank you, Sharon. I try really hard at Close the Kitchen to leave you with an idea in your head or a skill and you can get them all, and maybe even some warmth in your heart. When we decide to change our relationship with food, we have to find new ways to nourish ourselves and to nurture ourselves. And this is a great challenge, even outside of the quarantine, but with all of these unknowns, and all of these, what ifs, now more than ever, we need to be nourishing and nurturing and connecting in a really authentic and formal way. I've never met somebody ever in the 20 years that I've been an addictions and eating disorders therapist that's ever said to me, God, I struggle so much because I'm just too connected. I feel so supportive, and I really want to talk about that in a larger way with you tonight. We grow, the way that we grow in this relationship is to enhance our connections. And what I wrote about in the love letter this week, oh no, that wasn't this week, it was 2 weeks ago. It all goes together. But about these rituals, right? And about these things that we can do to really ground ourselves. And so I want to talk a little bit about spirituality tonight. It is people get so mixed up with spirituality, right? Because they make it into religion, which it isn't. They make it into witchcraft, which it isn't. This whole thing, like when we have food as our governing body for so long, right? And I said that talked about this in my group last night. I said to my group last night, on your worst day with food, how did it feel? You know what the answers were like? Lonely, isolated, hopeless, chaotic, right? And so when food is our governing body, and even like in the moments that we turn to food on those feelings. And what ends up happening is repetition of that, right? When I feel lonely, I feel hopeless. I eat, it makes me feel more lonely, more hopeless. It's so hard, right? And what ends up happening is our vision becomes very small, right? It feels like a postage stamp. And the thing that we know, or I know, and I'll tell you about life in and of itself, is that we have to be looking for the good, right? It's not just gonna like walk up, hey, everything's gonna be okay, right? That's actually a practice for many of us. Now listen, maybe you're the kind of person who's just like GTG, good to go. I wake up, I'm grateful, I'm good, I love, it's all good, la la la. I mean, if that is you, mazel tov, simon tov, I think you should do close the kitchen. Me, I wake up pretty untreated. I wake up a little hopeless, a little tired, a little scared. And so I have to practice a different way. And when I was deep in my abusive relationship with sugar, my whole vision was skewed, right? It was hopeless. It was why me? It was victim. It was, it's never going to work for me. It works for other people. That was my governing principle. That was my entire governing principle. And the problem with that governing principle, awesome, Emily, I love when we're samesies. The problem with that governing principle is that I was repeating it over and over and over and over and over again. So guess what? It became a belief. Because when you have a thought over again and you add action to it, it becomes a belief. It like gets into the constitution of you. But you know, everything's reparable, and we have such an opportunity to do it differently. We have such an opportunity to do it differently, my loves. And that's where spirituality comes in. Because spirituality is a practice. To me, it's a shift in what you choose to believe. It's very much like when I was talking about the distortions, but it's a shift in what you choose to believe. And I wanted to talk to you about one of my most favorite, like all-time spiritual practices that I had not talked about in here. I was talking about it in my group, and I was like, OMG, I have to tell CTK about this. Like, does anybody here worry? Worry. Oh my God, how's this gonna work out? Oh my God, this is never gonna work. Oh my God, is he gonna call me back? Like, oh my God, am I gonna get this thing? You know what I mean? And when you have these like constant worries, like it's just the rat, and then it becomes your whole brain. Okay, everybody's with us. So it's really interesting, right? Worry is not a form of preparation, my loves. Worry is like carrying an umbrella around all of the time, waiting for it to rain. It's also a thief, right? And it also keeps us really trapped. And the thing is that usually when we worry, it actually like extends the time of the problem, because we usually like interfere, we get in the way, you know what I mean? Like we end up messing with it. And never is the worry, right? Never is the worry like, this is going to work out so well, right? The worry is always like, well, what if it doesn't happen well, right? And then we sort of perpetuate that. We end up sabotaging, blah, 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 blah. My most favorite, probably, like really, okay, I say that a lot. My top five most favorite spiritual practice in the whole world is called a worry box. For those of you who don't mind this word, it's also called a God box, but we'll call it a worry box because we don't need to get into that word, not today. And here's what the worry box does. You have a little box and you put your worries in it. And when you put your worry in it, okay, when you put your worry into the worry box, what you're saying to, it's the best, what you're saying to the universe or whatever higher thing that you believe in, what you're saying to the concept of love. This is what I love having. And love is a really good higher concept. So like your lower self says food is my governing body. Your higher self would say love is my governing body, right? So and we put the worry in there. So there's so many people that have this. I want to tell you a great story about this because it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So you put the worries in there, right? Is he going to call back? What am I going to name my company? You know, I'm worried about Alex. Like whatever it is, you just put it in there. When you put it in there, you're saying to the box, you're saying to me, you know, you handle this. Me worrying about this isn't helping. So get a worry box. I'm telling you, I'm at my parents' house and I like bought like I have one in my office. I have one in my home. I'm buying one for my quarantine home. Like This is so great. Yes, Sherry, it's like a not my problem box. And here's a beautiful story. I want to tell you. It's because there have been so many times, and so what ends up happening is like every now and then you go through the box, right? I've gone through the box, and it's been like, Heidi, what was that problem? I didn't even know that was a problem, right? And this is my favorite story though. So September of this year, I was like, oh, what a great day to go through my worry box, right? Let me see what's in there. And this is what was in there. I took a picture of it actually. It was like, will somebody buy the book? And I'd already finished the book. Like, will I get an agent? How will I get an agent? Like, right? Like, and when I put it in the box, the problem is that when we're really in deep worry and when we're in deep obsession, this is all that our vision can do, right? And when our vision is like this, the only skill that we can think of to use, we don't think of trust as a skill in those moments. You know what I mean? We think of numbing as a skill. But when you say, okay, you know what? I don't know the answer to this. I don't know how I'm going to find an agent. I don't know how I'm going to sell this book. I can't think about my thinking about this is making me sick. So I need to leave this. I'm going to leave it in there. I'll come back to it, And I remember because I took the picture of like my agent and the book and I sent it to my agent, because we had already sold the book and the book was like almost about to be published, And it was like this really beautiful moment reminding me, and I tell you this story because you're all my people who have read the book, a lot of times when you can't figure out the problem, it's because it's not for you to figure out. It's just for you to receive and sit and wait. I can't tell you the amount of issues in my life that my brain, my worry and my fear couldn't figure it out, right? Like, we can't, that Einstein quote, and it's in the book, like, we can't solve the problem with the same thinking that we created it in. Worry boxes are great for that. And listen, sometimes I have to write it 15 times, like, don't get me wrong. But I want you to think about that. I really, really want you to start to think about this worry concept because it's a toxic thing. And it doesn't help you. Again, never when you're worrying are you ever thinking that this thing could work out, right? You're just preparing for the worst when, like, how do you know? Who are you? Like, what, you know what I mean? So, my loves, I want you to think about this. I also want you to remember that I love you. You are my most favorite people in the world. CTK is like my whoosh. I love you guys so much. And yeah. So worry box. I'm going to talk maybe about more. I might not talk about lobster tomorrow. I might talk about a couple more spiritual skills because I feel like right now having some spiritual skills like might be the thing. So stay tuned. Maybe it's the lobster story. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Stay tuned, my friends, and tell all your friends about it. Oh, P.S. If you haven't signed up, I'm serious, you guys. I like 4 therapists in this world. I am doing a webinar tomorrow night with like my beloved therapist. He's not my therapist. My beloved friend who's a therapist named Brad Reedy. We are talking about the relationship with ourselves, learning to love ourselves differently. He is a genius beyond. So please, please, please come if you haven't signed up. What are you doing? Get on it, get on it, get on it. Thank you. So everybody's very into me talking about spirituality. That's exciting because it's basically my favorite thing to talk about. But you know what? It is 8:44 and it is time for us to close the kitchen. Let's put our hands on our hearts. Let's put our hands on our hearts for ourselves and for our CTK community and for everybody struggling with their food and weight disorders and for everybody struggling in this world. It's a lot of struggle right now, my loves, and for all those on the front lines. And let's close the kitchen. Sam's closed the kitchen. Who else is closing the kitchen? Awesome. Leah's closed the kitchen. Yay. Who else is closing the kitchen? I'm glad, Abby. Good. Bernadette. Awesome. Rachel's closed the kitchen. Molly's closed the kitchen. Chris. Yes. Teresa's closed the kitchen. Gail's closed the kitchen. Susie. Rose, Roseanne, love you. Teresa's closed the kitchen. Emily, Janice, Jean's closed the kitchen. Amanda, Laura's closed the kitchen. Brenna, my love. Amy closed at 6:30. Sherry, amazing. Michelle, love you more than life. Teresa's closed the kitchen. Amazing. 2 hours ago. Thank you, Molly. Thank you. Tolly's closed the kitchen. Incredible. Carol's closed the kitchen. Amazing. Karen's closed the kitchen. Awesome. My BUWS crew. Boom. Done it. Done it. All right, my loves. Our kitchens are closed. Our hearts are full. We're nourished. We're nurtured. I'm going to do it all again tomorrow. Please, if you haven't signed up for this webinar, you guys, I could literally talk to Brad Reedy all day. I'm like sad I'm already sad it's only an hour. So please come and sign up. Bring a friend or 5. The more the merrier. Love you, love you, love you. See you guys later.